Hey everybody, welcome to episode, can you believe it, episode 20 of our series on working in the new normal. And I haven't been doing well at staying to my time budget, but I'm going to try hard here to keep within the 5 minutes or so. The other thing I wanted to mention to you, and I guarantee you it does tie to this idea of new normal or the coronavirus crisis, is back in, I think it was late December, maybe I took some Christmas money and I bought a product. Now, I don't get excited about products that often, but I'll put a picture of this product up on the screen here because it's really cool if you're into what I'm into. So if you're into guitars and equipment, meaning the physical guitars and the amplifiers and that kind of thing, this is a really cool product. Apparently I was not alone because this company, the name of the company is Positive Grid, got swamped with orders for this new product. And they won the best of show, best amplifier at the annual NAMM convention show. So it's getting a lot of good press and a lot of people wanted to buy it. But here's the point. I placed my order in December and I still don't have it. And I get occasional, I mean, they've been decent about keeping me in the loop, but they don't think I'm going to be able to get my hands on this until June. And I'm thinking probably July now. And the reason is the supply chain. So materials. It's not so much the people issues, right? I think they've been able to ramp up. A big part of it is demand, right? So there were a lot of people in line in front of me to get these boxes. These are amplifiers. But a big part of the delay was inability to get parts that they needed. And so I wanted to spend, I've got just a couple minutes left, but I wanted to mention on parts, on materials related to the coronavirus situation. I'm sure a lot of you, if you're in manufacturing, you're running into this. And so what I'd like to do is suggest a couple modifications to our plan for every part. Now, plan for every part, if you're not familiar with what that is, go look it up, Google it, but it's something that you definitely need to be working on if you don't have that. But basically, the short definition is an in-depth analysis of every single item that you either make or you buy from a number of different dimensions. And hopefully in a user-friendly format, kind of like ideally a easy-to-use spreadsheet kind of format where you can do some analysis and slicing and dicing and filtering and sorting and adding columns if you need to, adding new data. So I'm going to suggest 2 new columns related to the coronavirus situation that you may want to add to your plan for every part worksheet or system, if you don't have it already. The first one is not a new idea. It's just it's a little surprising to me that I didn't come across this earlier, but it's called an XYZ code. And what that is, it's different from an ABC code, which I've worked with for years. So ABC code is a code that you assign to an item that kind of allows you to sort and filter based on value or cost or criticality. But an XYZ code is different. It's related to usage variability or variability in whatever dimension you want to measure. But basically, X would be low variability or consistent usage, and Y would be somewhere in between, and Z would be highly variable usage. And that's going to be something that we want to be looking at. If you're not already, when we do our analysis of Kanban quantities, for example. Kanban doesn't work very well in Z-type items with highly variable usage from one day to another. So really critical thing to know. The other column that I suggest you add to your spreadsheet, your plan for every part spreadsheet, is kind of like a pandemic code. And what we're suggesting here is that if we do have in the future another pandemic, or this one comes back stronger, or something happens, on an item-by-item basis, how vulnerable are you for supply for that item related to some kind of supply chain disruption, worldwide pandemic, kind of like what we just experienced. And if you have items that are Z type or whatever code you want to come up with that are high on the pandemic risk scale, then those would be items you want to look at for maybe assessing your supply chain strategy for those items. So example, hardware items, fasteners, those are probably low, right? Because you can probably source those locally, or ideally they're manufactured locally, probably less of an issue. Technical items may be high on the list there. And I just heard on the radio that part of the issue with doing testing here in the US now is just being able to get some of the components, the chemicals, the supplies that are needed to do the testing, because they're not made here, right? They're coming from overseas. And so we may be rethinking that. So I'll end there, but when we're going ahead with the plan for every part, which is a really critical tool for material management, consider adding a few more columns. And XYZ is an excellent one to have it. By the way, that XYZ codes are included in SAP. So again, this is not a new idea, but it's just not as commonly used. And then a pandemic code, user defined, you make up your own code, but some way of allowing you to filter and look at items that are vulnerable or could be vulnerable in the future. So with that, I'll leave you there. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.